Now, I really wish today's story time was an April Fool's joke, but it's not. Yeah, this is a story of how a 60-year-old man tried to fight me, and it kind of unfolded in a pretty bizarre way, so I'm going to talk about it. Let's jump into it. So today's story time all takes place back in 2016. 2016 was a crazy year. Everyone can probably agree on that. It was a very fun year, very crazy year. I certainly had some good times and some bad times, and this one's definitely kind of a bad time. Around this time, I was dating a girl. It was early 2016. It was February. I was dating this girl that I met through a friend of mine at a party. And we'd been dating for about 2 weeks, right? Not long at all. Very, very like early stage relationship. Very, very like teenage relationship. Saying I love you within the first like day type shit. Very just not serious, I would say, right? And we ended up breaking up around this time, okay? Literally at the 2-week mark, we broke up. If you're wondering who dumped who, I broke up with her because I found out she was still talking to her ex that she had broken up with not that long before our relationship. And that made me really weirded out. Is it possible for people to be friends with their exes? Sure. But honestly, man, I just don't like the idea of that. So I broke up with her. I did it in a pretty like disrespectful way too. I texted her instead of like calling or meeting face to face like an actual gentleman should. But yeah, it kind of just goes back to what I was saying earlier. I was definitely an immature, just dude back then essentially. And yeah, so I broke up with her and she was actually surprisingly okay with it, which also was a red flag because she's talking to her ex, she's still friends with him. And then I break up with her and she doesn't care at all. Kind of odd to me. Well, after I break up with her, about a week and a half goes by, and nothing really too crazy is happening. At this point I was single, and so was she, and about a week and a half had went by, and I hadn't heard from her, and like I said, the breakup, she took it really well, so I thought that everything was good. Well, yeah, about a week and a half later, I saw her out in public with her dad at Best Buy. We all know what Best Buy is. It's the store where there's electronics, right? And I'm in there looking at headphones, because my headphones had broken. So I was in there by myself. I walked there because I didn't have a car yet back then. I walked there and I was looking at headphones by myself in the headphone aisle at Best Buy. And all of a sudden I hear, "Yo, bro." And I look to my left and it's this old ass dude looking at me with like a really mean look. And I'm like, "Hey." And he goes, "You know who I am?" And I was like, "No." And he goes, "I'm her father." And he points to the left, right? And I can't even see who he's pointing at because she's behind the other aisle. So I walk over there to see who he's pointing to. And he's like, back up, buddy." I'm like, "I'm just trying to see who you're pointing to." He gets in my way so I can't see. But luckily I was able to step to the right really fast and kind of juke him out and I could see around him. And it's my fucking ex-girlfriend. Literally the one that I had just broken up with not even 2 weeks ago. She's right there. And I was like, "Oh, wow, this is awkward." And he goes, "Yeah, you scared?" And I was like, What is going on right now?" And he's like, "You broke up with my fucking daughter through a text message? What kind of man are you? What kind of man does that?" And he just keeps screaming at me in the middle of this store, right? To the point where the employees start to hear it and they start sending security and all these people over. Now, around this time, I had a family friend that actually worked at this store. He was about 30, 40 years old maybe. He was like a distant cousin or something, but I knew him well enough to where he would recognize me. And he sees what's happening, and he comes up to us, and he's like, "What's going on? Austin, you all right?" And I was like, "Yeah, this is my ex-girlfriend's dad. He's mad at me because I broke up with his daughter, and I don't really know why he's so mad. He's literally looks like he's about to fight me. This isn't good." And her dad hears me say this, right? And he starts getting pissed. He's like, "Oh, you're going to go run to your little mommy?" He's trying to act like I'm snitching on him, right? And I guess in the grand scheme of things, I was. But bro, I was a teenager and he was a 60-year-old man. You're probably wondering how I know this, by the way. Because my ex told me. In our relationship, she told me her parents were older and that they were in their 60s. So he could have been even older than 60. I'm just saying 60 to be nice. He could have been even older. So, yeah, not good, right? Well, he keeps screaming at me. And he runs around the security guard and gets in my face again. And this dude goes, "I'm going to show you what it's like to talk to a real man." And I was like, what does that fucking mean? And he whines back and tries to swing on me. And I'm like, yo, this dude's fucking insane. So I ducked down because I don't want to get punched by this guy. And one of the security guards and my buddy that worked at the store, like, jumped in between us in perfect time and pretty much blocked his punch and ate it for me, essentially. He hit my friend, like, right in the shoulder. So naturally, the employees were pissed. The security was pissed. They kicked him out of the store. They escorted him out. I followed behind because they wanted me out as well, which I thought was kind of wild because I didn't do shit. But yeah, they escorted all of us out, kicked us all out, me, my ex, her dad. And then the employees waited outside and was like, all right, guys, like, leave. We're going to watch you guys go your separate ways. Otherwise, we're calling the cops. And this guy's like, I'm not fucking leaving. I want him to apologize to my daughter. And I was like, okay, I'm sorry. Like, I had no idea she was so affected by us breaking up. I thought she didn't give a fuck. Like, I'm so sorry if she's upset. And he goes, no, that's not enough. You don't sound genuine enough. And I'm like, all right, then what do you fucking want, dude? Do you want me to say sorry and, like, beg on my knees for forgiveness? Or do you want me to mean it? Because I'm actually saying sorry right now. And he didn't like that. He thought that I was talking back to him. So once again, he, like, starts winding up and, like, getting in a stance to fight me. And sure enough, my friend comes again and gets between us. And my friend starts cursing. He's like, yo, get the fuck out of my store. Get in your car. Take your daughter. Leave. You are trying to fight a teenager right now. Do you not understand how awful you are for doing this? Like, you can go to jail right now. Like, you tried to swing on a teenager. That's not legal. Swinging on anybody isn't legal, but a teenager, that's especially illegal. And my friend was completely correct. You're not allowed to try and fight a child when you're an adult because that's very messed up for millions of reasons. So yeah, my friend keeps pressing him. And like I said, he was like a cousin, distant cousin / like good family friend essentially. And he was older than me by a lot. So he was kind of like, you know, my backup, essentially. And he's like in this dude's face telling him to leave. The guy's not leaving. So then my boy pulls out his phone. He's like, all right, I'm calling the cops. If you're not out of here in 5 seconds, I'm hitting the dial button. I have it typed in, like, look. And he shows him. And this guy gets into stance again. And he winds up on my friend, on the Best Buy employee, my fucking cousin, whatever, friend. He winds up on him. And he swings. And my boy ducks it. And just a full-blown fight breaks out between the two of them. And within like 10 minutes, it was broken up. The cops pulled up. Dude got handcuffed, the one that swung first, a.k.a. my ex's dad. And she's crying. It was just a whole fucking situation. It was not good. And I had to sit there and like give a statement / like story of like why it happened. Obviously, I didn't get in any trouble because I didn't do anything. But this whole situation could have been avoided if this dude just fucking left. And honestly, the craziest part about all of this too was that my ex-girlfriend the entire time, like the whole time her dad was pressing me and the whole time that like this was happening, she wasn't saying a word. And listen, I understand that like in a situation like that, it can be pretty scary to speak up sometimes. But if your dad is about to beat up a teenager and an employee of a store you're visiting, it might be a good idea to be like, hey, dad, don't do that. Let's leave. So I don't know. And she never texted me after, never like, you know, apologized for his actions at all. So I guess that kind of confirms that she was pretty pissed at me about the breakup. But I don't think it justified having her dad almost fucking beat me up, dude. Definitely not cool. But yeah, he got arrested and charged for a bunch of shit. I can't exactly remember what happened to my friend / cousin. I believe he like got to keep his job, but then he quit anyway over some bullshit like a few months later. So I think he ended up leaving that job anyway, so that didn't really matter. But all in all, moral of the story is, it's good to have family and friends. Like this dude, I keep calling him my cousin and my friend. It's because I consider him both. I wasn't very close with him. Like he was a family friend that I kind of grew up near. And that dude was like a straight ride or die in this situation. Now, do I think he would have done the same for any teenager that was getting threatened by an older man? I think so, because he's not a piece of shit. He's a good person. But it made it even extra special. The dude was in my family, kinda. So shout out to my distant cousin / homie. You're the best. I appreciate you. And yeah, guys, moral of the story is, don't be like that older guy. Don't be like that 60-year-old man, my ex's dad. Don't be like him. Yeah, we all learned a valuable lesson on that day. And I never heard from my ex again. To this day, never heard from her. She'll probably watch this video. And if you are, damn. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed this story time. If you did, please leave a like on the video. I'd really appreciate it. Feel free to leave your story times in the comments down below. And subscribe if you're new. I'll see you guys all later. Peace. I be fully loaded, I be whipping foreign cars.